Alright guys, TacticalRab here, and today I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And after a rough start to Major 4 for OpTic Temp, it seems about time this team makes a call on what they want to do for the rest of the season. With no guarantees that Illy is returning, will they stick with Prolute despite difficult results, or is it time to make another change and bring in another substitute to this roster for the rest of the year? Is Temp an option? Is Scrappy an option? Could Clayster even be an option? Very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Really, to the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Plenty to dive into today. First of all, I wanted to mention this because Doug sent to Martin's video roasting the CDL for the challenger side is, I guess, in the works or coming soon. Kind of reminds me of the whole Crimsix Huke video situation last year that never, unfortunately, materialized. But yeah, maybe it's coming sometime or another. Now, to add more fuel to the fire here, it's actually incredible to me that a lot of players here that aren't making the Challengers World Championship just don't have anything to play, well, pretty much past this week. So the start of July, the season is over for the majority of Challenger players. Like, think about that, right? The fact that the season started in effectively February and it ends with these players at the start of July. Like, I mean, yeah, if you're in the Challengers World Championship, you have a month after now to effectively play against only the teams that are at the Challengers World Championship because the other guys aren't going to be scrimming anymore because there's nothing else to play. So it's kind of crazy the fact that last year there was a lot of Challenger stuff on. There was a load of cups, right? And like this year, there's actually a significant amount less, despite the fact that it still seems like they're playing all the time. So they've just condensed the season massively. Like, as he says, the most disappointing way I've ever seen the season structured in my 15 years associated with COD, right? So, I mean, think about that, right? Doug's obviously been around so many years. Back in the day, there wasn't even like an official league, right? It was just, you know, lads got together and played some tournaments. And now, now Doug's saying that even with the official league in play, it's the worst season structure he's ever seen in 15 years. So, quite the statement, to be honest. And then some Pentagram, right? Last year, 20 cups, 5 elites, 5 opens, 32 team world championship. Yes, this was online, which makes it easier to do kind of logistically. But this year, 12 cups, 4 elites, 3 opens, 8 team champs. Like, just regression in every way. Pentagram doesn't need to add any more thing to that, right? And as Centre says, at Spinner Spent, at Daniel Sai, from the league perspective. And as Spence says, okay, yeah, last year was online. We do see what you were saying, though. Trust me, we do. So we'll see if we get any response to this over the course of the coming weeks. But again, no one's happy about it. Whether they change anything this year or next year, who knows? But yeah, just incredible how many of these decisions don't go down too well with the entire community. Right, as even Drazah says from the kind of New York side, last Challengers cover the year in June. What's going on there? Our season is over in a week, brother, says Fire. It's kind of crazy, you know, Fire 40. Now we're not going as Fire 40 anymore right here because maybe I don't know, maybe he doesn't want the associations with that name and the kind of memes that are going around, but still will go down as Fire 40 in the community's hearts anyway. But as Drill says, you know, what's going on here? Only 8 teams to champs have no one to scrim for a month. As Josh says, EU will have 3 or 4 teams maximum and high possibility of 2 of them playing each other round 1. Leaves 2 scrim partners for however long before champs, right? So, like, I mean, incredible stuff. And in North America, if there's only like 2 teams that make champs over there, plus I guess the Latin American team, like there's barely anyone to script. So I don't really understand the whole thought process behind this. Wanted to talk about this as well though, because I didn't get time to talk about this last night. But again, OpTic and Thieves, of course. Boston's first 2 matches of the stage go 1-1. Some real good servers we play on, only against them every single time. So that's the thing, right? We looked at the fact yesterday that they got 3-0'd so hard by Thieves back in stage 3. And now in stage 4, the same thing has happened again. Now the big drama at the time was in stage 3 was that they played on such a server where they got like 70 ping or something, and therefore they were just getting bodied. Now, I mean, at the time I was like, okay, yeah, maybe that's just, you know, they're just effectively gassing it up to make themselves not look as bad. And in fairness, right, don't know why they're playing Gavutu. They walked into a minefield there, allowing Kenny to play against a green team on Gavutu. But at the same time, now we've seen this 2 stages in a row where Boston look good against a team like OpTic, and then they play Thieves on whatever server they play on and just get destroyed, because the idea is, I think, that Thieves and Boston, like, it's difficult to find a good server. Whatever one they do play on gives Boston more ping, but Thieves have the kind of artificially inflated ping to make it legitimate. But, you know, questions have been raised as to whether that's actually a fair environment. And even as Elena says, actually, I believe girlfriend of Nero, she says about 70 ping they're on again, close enough. So kind of crazy scenes, to be honest, like, if that's the case again. And it does make you wonder, like, yes, these teams match up in such a way that Thieves always have the advantage, but especially online on whatever server that is, they're not happy at all, right? So definitely wonder if the CDL will think about that one going forwards, but serving complaints aren't going away anytime soon. Crimsix, of course, yesterday was very much hoping that OpTic would get the victory up against Minnesota and against Boston, I guess, a couple of days ago, because yes, New York have to pretty much win everything, but they also have to hope that teams around them that also can qualify don't, well, effectively get no points at all, right? They've got to hope that everyone else falls off and they just come through steamroll. And as I said yesterday, it is still in their own hands. If they win everything, they should be fine for the World Championship, but they should really be hoping that Boston, Minnesota, Florida, like Thieves, even these teams around them, don't get any points such that New York can actually overtake these teams. It seems like Boston, where they are now, seems less and less likely they'll overtake take them. Minnesota may be in a similar position as well. It's like, I mean, yeah, by OpTic kind of playing incredibly poorly right now, they're certainly hurting Crimsix, especially in the subladders, in making him get to the World Championship, even if he does win out and have a great run. But of course, his bracket from here, and of course his team's bracket as well, only gets harder. And as Grim says, soul by soul, rooted for OpTic to win today, to no effect, #shameless, right? So yeah, OpTic, of course, fell short last night. Probably the two sloppiest series I've seen OpTic play, probably all year. Certainly yesterday's one against Boston was after they went up 2-0. Yesterday was maybe marginally better. The control they certainly improved on and worked on a few things, but the other game modes, like, they just couldn't clutch up in any of the maps, to be honest, which is just indicative, really, of an OpTic team that's not going to win anything substantial with this current roster, I would say. Like, I highly doubt that they're looking at this team. Like, is Scump looking at this team before with Prelude and thinking they can win the World Championship? Like, I kind of doubt it, right? And if that is the case, then I wonder if they will consider any other options here. So, as Rambo says last night, GG's in Minnesota. We'll get some good reps in this week to get us back on track. I appreciate all the support. So, he also said in an article, Sean Collins did one, and effectively he said, yeah, look, I was happy with the way we improved our control. Like, we didn't really have much time to practice and prepare. Of course, we've got players ill, right? We looked at last night, right? That, Scump and Shotzzy, probably, maybe not Dashy. I'm pretty sure Dashy was at the headquarters and Prelude was as well, but they were spread out in different rooms, such that Dashy didn't have the camera, so that, like, maybe they picked stuff up at this OpTic party, is my theory at the very least, which probably is rather plausible, and therefore haven't been feeling great either. But the issue is, I think, for this OpTic team is that, yes, okay, individually they might have been feeling under the weather, but are they going to use that in their headers? Like, okay, yeah, well, we're feeling bad, therefore when we're feeling okay again, we're going to be fine again with this roster. Like, I just don't see that being the case. For some reason, ever since Prelude's been in the team, and now he's not playing as good as he was when he was initially here, but just comparing the performances of the SMG duo, Scump and Shotzzy, when they had Illy on the team to when they had Prelude on the team, is rather different, right? Like, individually, Illy seemed to get something out of his SMG duo at a much higher level than Prelude can, let's just say, and really, of course, it's your SMG duo performing at a high level that, was taking this OpTic team to new levels, right? I said for quite some time, OpTic have the best SMG duo in the game. I think on their day they do, but right now they're performing nowhere near that level. Scump and Shotzzy individually, both of them have not been good at all in the last few matches, and maybe part of that comes down to who exactly is their flex on the roster right now. Dashy was doing his thing regardless, dropping 1.4s, but yeah, I wanted to show what the flank had to say on this last night, because they were theorizing, look, if this team doesn't believe with this team of 4 with Prelude in, like, who knows if Illy's coming back? It's far from guaranteed, and I think that they've just got to realize, okay, look, we've just got to stick with this roster for the rest of the year. If Illy does magically return, we can bring him in, but we've got to plan for the worst case scenario, effectively. I think they've done a terrible job of that, really, the last couple of months or so, to be honest, since this whole situation arose. So what players are there out there you could realistically replace Prelude with? Is it a Donny Temp from Paris? Is it a Scrappy from Toronto? Is it even a Clayster?
They have the pick of the litter of who they want, right? Like, they can
get whoever they want. They're
like,
OpTic.
Every player that they want will want to be on them. It's just a matter of making it happen with contracts. Go out and get our man Donny Temp, the savior.
You think Donny Temp would come in here and just change the ball game?
I think someone that plays that kind of style, that fast place flex role will benefit them. And Donny's obviously had, I think, if not top 2, the best career or year he's ever had. So
imagine.
I think there's a lot of players, right? Like, we could say Scrappy, but that's probably less obtainable. I think Temp is in a position where he's like a very obtainable option for them, and a very like
hold on. They need an AR, maybe a flex, whatever. Maybe they do some adjustments. So what about Clay, man?
People have been talking about Clay, but I just don't see Clay and Dashy working together. I just don't see that working.
Dude, that's like the same like Crim and Clay. Like, bro,
it's not gonna work, dude.
Yeah.
Clay and Dashy, Chris, you think Clay and Dashy on the same team's gonna work?
Clay is less obtainable than
anyone, than anybody.
Like,
he's less obtainable than anyone.
Let's be realistic, bro. I think someone like Temp is obtainable. Like, that's an actual option.
Alone, bro, alone.
If they feel that they can't get it done with Prelude, which isn't really against Prelude by any means, but like if they feel that they're not getting Illy back and they need like a top tier player that they think they can really make this run for the last 6 weeks, then I think Temp's a great fit. But
they got to bring in Dave Patty.
So Donny Temp, of course, on the Paris team right now, he's had one of his best years individually in a very long time. I think this is the most likely option if they want to go down this route, right? He's been killing it lately on the content side, but also playing great individually. Does bring more of a leadership element to the team as well. That's what they need, right? OpTic need that leadership, right? They lost Illy, they lost his talents, but they also lost his leadership, right? And no one else on the team does that. Temp could be that guy for this team. I think you could probably do do a better job of that than Prolute, and individually, he's a more talented player, right? So I feel like Temp is a guy that if you can make it happen with Paris, you've got to try and make it work, right? And in fairness to Paris, they do at least have a substitute on their team now in John, so if you did just get Temp out there in this next week, then it's possible that they could at least, well, Paris could at least still field the roster. Now, look, I don't know if that's going to happen. Temp might be stuck here for the rest of the year. Do OpTic just say, well, you know, we were unwell, we'll be fine next week or whatever? I just don't see that being the case, to be honest. I can't see this team of 4 winning Major 4 or winning the World Championship, and if you can't win the World Championship with this team, what's the point, right? Like, you've got to do something. So Temp to me is the most understandable, realistic, and also attainable option, as the guys were suggesting, right? Like, Temp you can actually get. Paris aren't going to, you know, hold up too much resistance if you do come to some sort of arrangements. I'm sure they're going to want something in return for him, right? And they're going to want a significant payday for Donny or whatever loan arrangement they can come up with here, but still, I'm sure they could do something. And if OpTic actually want to make it happen, they can make it happen. Temp, of course, would go there if the opportunity arose, believing, of course, that the roster lock hasn't come through yet, which I don't believe in. I'm pretty sure it's before the World Championship. The other options that are being discussed actually were Scrappy, of course, from Toronto, but just the way that's going with the contract there, I feel like he'd be a harder target to get than Temp would, and I'm not exactly sure like which option would be better. I think that Temp, if anything, is a bit more proven in those situations, that I'd probably go for Temp if I could get him. But Clayster also was mentioned. I doubt the Clayster thing is going to happen, right? But yesterday, in fairness, he did drop 60 in this control for the victory in Game 5. I thought was pretty impressive. Now, we do know, of course, that Clay and Dashy have a bit of beef over the years, and realistically, could you actually pair Clayster with Dashy and make it work, right? Because, I mean, I guess Dashy would still be the main, and Clay would have to kind of fit into the flex role there, because you're not going to make Dashy change his role just to bring Clayster in. So it would create a bit of drama, really. And I feel like Crimsix, if anything, is actually kind of a better option. Let's say they had to make a change before Chaps and Crim doesn't make it. That'd be kind of a crazy world, but Crim is a more like, he can run the flex better than Clay can run the flex, in my opinion, right? But, you know, and also we know there's beef between Clayster and Dashy, right? I just found this up real quick from last year's, or situation early in the year, right? When Dashy and Clay were having a bit of a back and forth, as you can see, for example, on screen. So these guys, like, they probably don't get on particularly well anyway. Do also make much sense. I don't think Clay is the guy. So probably Donny Temp is the most attainable target if there's anyone in the league right now, if they want to make a change. I think that they probably should. I think that I would like to see them do this, but I don't really think they will. But intrigued to your perspective in the comment section below. The issue for OpTic is, of course, that yes, their points aren't really an issue right now, but they're 0-2 this stage, and their matches only get harder, right? So they play next week, they play Paris, right? So this may or may not have Donny Temp. It'd be funny if Paris like sell Donny Temp to OpTic or loan him out, and then OpTic just beat them anyway. But I mean, this should be a victory to get them back on track. This is the same thing that happened during Major 1. OpTic played Paris their third game after going 0-2, and then they won the next 7 straight and won the Major. Not going to happen this time, though, with this current team of 4, and then after that, oh my god, all these bounty games. But I mean, yeah, the other 2 matches they played Toronto last, and they played the subliners, yeah, okay, I missed this one, on Sunday, July the 3rd, right? So their matches only get harder, right? Like, they've played their easier matches so far, then they played New York and Toronto to close out, so that's pretty tough. So definitely intriguing perspective in the comment section, like, this is the way the standings are looking, right? But the issue is, if they go like 1-4 or something this stage, or 2-3 or whatever, and they don't make the winners brackets, then they start in losers at the Major, they get a poor Major performance, they barely get any land practice at the Major before the World Championship. Like, it's just an absolute disaster if that is the case. So they've got to seriously consider it, right? And I would be talking to the team if I was Rambo, ready to just pick their brains on, do you think this roster has what it takes? And if not, like, you know, we've got a few days really to do something here before the end of this stage. Let's talk tonight's matches then. 3 games today to finish off the week. Incredibly interesting and crucial ones, right? I wonder how Paris will fare, because yes, still with Donny Temp in the team for now at least. We'll see how it goes if OpTic decide to do anything. But I mean, yeah, Paris, they've said 10% that they were looking really good in scrims with their new change with Johnny in for John. Therefore, I mentioned John and Johnny on the same team. If Temp was to leave, that'd be kind of funny. But they play Seattle. Seattle, of course, the favourites here, right? But who knows how much, if they've been slacking off in practice the last few days, like after they won the Major, like who knows what's going to happen, right? So I think that Paris are the team that might upset some other teams, but maybe not Seattle Surge. I think they're too good across the board. I'll take Surge 3-1. I love a 3-1. Minnesota over Florida. I'll take them to win as well. They're just too good online. And Florida Mutineers, their respawners looked pretty atrocious, right? So 3-0, 3-1 probably for Rokkr in this series, at least for me. But, you know, it depends. Florida can always just turn up and win a series. You guys know how they work. And then Thieves versus FaZe, right? Traditionally, at least kind of historically, FaZe always destroy Thieves. And I would be surprised if it's a different story here. I think FaZe are coming out with the fire. They're going to turn up for the rest of the season. But yeah, Thieves looked great yesterday. But against a team that isn't a green kind of coloured team, then Kenny sometimes drops a 0.7. So we'll see what happens. Very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button. Tells the YouTube gods it's a good video. And I was like, you should see it as well. And I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next time.